Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Flerick.
This is Jake.
and this is Mac.
Apparently, Jake's a little caught off guard by the beginning of this one.
It was different than last time somehow.
He's reviewing his notes.
It was just different. No, it wasn't. I was reading.
All right, this is the Midway episode for the Hatsu 2020 Basho. We have watched through day 8, so if you haven't seen day 8, go back and watch that and then listen to this podcast.
And feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad. Feel good that you still get to experience Grand Sumo Breakdown. It's just a little bit later than everybody else who has already watched
And then
the day.
feel bad about it.
I don't take it back.
All right, fine.
I'm with you, Jake.
I feel like if you're not watching sumo wrestling the first thing you do when you wake up on a given day, you're not a real fan.
Yeah. Flerick,
Yeah,
Mac,
I totally agree with what that said.
Jake.
And I didn't binge
I've
like
done that all week this week.
Okay, have you?
Yeah.
Only because we had junk going on at the office, so I couldn't watch over lunch this week.
Yeah, I intentionally set my alarm clock 15 minutes earlier so I have enough time to watch the full day of sumo before I do anything else in the day.
I may or may not have like binged like 6 days.
now that Carolyn has gotten into sumo, she makes it a point. Like right when she gets home, like, okay, let's watch sumo before we can get on with our night. So
Oh, that's awesome, though.
Yeah,
Carolyn
it's a lot
being
of
your
fun.
wife.
Yes, Carolyn being my wife. Yes.
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 I think
I've met her one or two times.
That's possible. That's definitely a thing.
may or may not have slept in the same room with all of you, including wives, many a time on our travels.
Anyway, back to the
What are we doing here? If only someone would tell us what to do
We're
next.
talking about wives.
Wives. Okay.
No, we're talking about sumo. We could talk about wives later. And we're talking about the Hatsu Basho, and so we're going to talk about the people that are leading the tournament. So we have 3 guys that are currently tied at 7-1. One guy isn't too surprising. We have Takakeisho.
Hey, I know him.
And Takakeisho is currently the top-ranked guy that is still wrestling. We'll get more on that later. And we also have the bottom-ranked guy that is wrestling in Toku Shoryu at Maegashira 17 West. Those two are tied at 7-1. And Flerick, who else is tied at 7-1?
This is actually making me really happy because of the fantasy, but it's Shodai, also in the Isho with 7-1.
Yeah. So about that, we're doing our new style of fantasy sumo where we make it easy on ourselves and only have 2 guys that we have to follow. We pick one guy to do well and one guy to do poorly. We go deeper in the rules on our preview episode, but I picked Koto Yuki to do poorly, and I picked so correctly that he actually pulled out before the tournament started, and I had to pick someone else. I picked Shodai because he was jumping way, way up in rank, and I wasn't sure he was ready to be in the top of the division again.
And to be fair, he's normally a great choice.
Normally a
terribly.
great choice at this rank. Normally it would be an excellent choice for someone who would do poorly at Maegashira 4. But not so this time.
Yeah, but when
So it
both
looks
of
like
your
I'm-
Yokozuna pull out, when one of your Ozeki is an injured Goedo, one of your Sekiwake is an injured Takayasu, and your Komosubi are Abi and Daisho.
And you get the benefit of not facing Koto Yuki because he pulled out.
Can't forget that, yeah.
Always a match that people mark on their calendars coming into every basho. Is that big Koto Yuki match.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so we've got 3 guys tied at 7-1 in the lead for this tournament. We've got 4 guys that are trailing them just behind at 6-2. So we've got Maegashira 14, Terutsu Yoshi. We've got Maegashira 11, Kagayaki. Maegashira 9, Yutakayama. And Maegashira 1, Endo. So out of all the people in the top 2 ranks, there's only one person in the Sanyaku ranks, and that is Takakeisho. So out of these 7 guys, who is a contender and who is a pretender, Jake?
I honestly don't think any of them are going to get it because somehow no one's going to get it.
Well, okay,
This is
so
the
what are you
weirdest
predicting
tournament.
now?
No,
I don't think it's
know.
anywhere. I think it's actually better than Kyushu.
Really?
Or, no, not Kyushu. Sorry, that was the one Hakuho won. Then Aki.
I don't know,
Okay.
man. It's so weird. It's weird that like Endo beat both Yokozuna on the opening days. It's weird that the first and last place guy are tied for the lead.
I would say that Endo beating like like Yokozuna and people well above him, but then also like dropping matches to people.
that's
around
very
him.
Endo.
It's very much
It's
like Endo.
It's a very Mitake Yumi style as well, there, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's also weird that we mentioned Kageyaki by name on this podcast.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff, and I don't like any of it.
Yeah, Tsurugisho 7-1. What's going on there?
Tokushoryu, you mean?
Tokushoryu 7-1.
What's going on there?
What's going on there?
I don't know. I think I kind of just have to default to Takakeisho just because like there's no other names that make any sense in this conversation.
What about you, Flair? Who are your contenders and pretenders?
I would say you got to give it to Takakeisho. He's the one who has consistency of. He hasn't won anything yet, has he?
Yeah, he won
he has.
one.
Okay, so he's won a Yusho before.
Yeah, he's got a couple of Junyu shows.
Yeah, a couple. Like so, he
And he's an Ozeki.
yeah, he has the history behind it of actually he's been here before. So I am convinced that he's definitely a contender for the Yusho at this point. As for pretenders, pretty much everyone else, except that Shoei guy. He's got it going this time.
That must have been painful for you to say.
I root for Hokuto Fuji today along with Shodai, and that is just weird.
Yeah.
This fantasy series is doing some weird stuff.
Flaric's favorites change like the wind.
This is also true. As for
I think Flarik is just really invested in not needing to eat hot sauce again.
Is it?
No, it's singing one.
Not this time.
yeah,
Okay.
it's singing. This time
Okay,
it's
that's what I was gonna say.
But I saw that look in your eyes.
I was like, hot sauce?
Oh no.
For contender for me, definitely Takakeisho. He's got the track record, he's got the tenure, and he's putting up the wins. For pretender, gotta be Tokushoryu. Sorry, he's down on the bottom. He's not fighting the top guys yet. That'll probably change. I think he's just getting by on luck right now.
It's not anything to do with his style, but for like a really big and like top and middle heavy guy, he can squat down low, and he always looks
No question.
really
No
well balanced at the
question.
Tachi eye. There's just something about him where I'm just impressed about how balanced he is. Anyways,
I think it's really, really weird. Tokishoryu actually has a top division Junyu show.
Really?
5 years ago, and
Everybody gets one, it seems like.
Everybody gets one. Yeah, I mean, it was an 11-4 in January of 2015. I was just kind of scanning through
Wait,
the rest
he
of
was
these.
an M16?
Yeah, so he's right. He's got him right where he wants him.
right where he wants them. I was just looking through to see, like, almost all these guys actually do have a Junyu show in their past.
Does Endo?
Endo has one.
Okay.
Yutakiyama, the guy that I used to put in a bucket with Asanoyama.
He got one Mitake Yumi's first U show. I remember that.
Yep, he's got one.
What
He's
about Kaguriyaki?
Kaguriyaki. Let's bring him up, see what his career's looked like so far. No.
Okay. He has absolutely no accolades of any kind whatsoever throughout his entire career. No lower division U
God.
show, no June U show,
Wow.
no Kinboshi, no special prizes.
He's
I
got a
think
losing record in Makuuchi.
this is like the first profile of a guy in Maegashira that I've seen with zero accolades, period.
Wow, that's really interesting.
they should give him an award for that.
That makes sense as to why this is probably the first time his name's been brought up multiple times on this podcast.
Yeah, he's always been like mid Banzuke to lower Banzuke. in my-
Yeah, mid to lower.
Yeah, I think he's gotten up to like M5, M6 once, and that was about his peak.
yeah,
Yeah.
and instantly gets knocked back down. Like,
Yeah.
no, this
We've
isn't for you.
mentioned him in a previous episode. He is a, I believe he's from the same city as former Yokozuna Wajima.
Oh yeah, because
Was that right?
he had the golden.
That's why he
Mawashi
wears
for a
gold.
while. Not this basho. Both
Oh, I
him
missed that.
and Endo changed their Mawashi color. They're both away from the gold Mawashi this basho.
I know that Kageyaki used to wear it because because of his connection to Wajima.
Yeah.
That's strange. That's probably why
He's doing so well.
I was going to say that, but then it didn't really make sense. So never mind.
Washi colors never make sense. You have to just kind of believe something that they do, and then just kind of commit to that.
I'm sure that they are the wrestlers themselves are even more superstitious than the fans about it.
Oh, I'm definitely. Yeah. So I'm gonna go on with my contenders and pretenders. So contender, I obviously Takakeisho, and I'm gonna go with Shodai. I do think his quality of sumo and his wins have been very good. It's not like they've been shaky wins where like he just last second sidestepped a guy for the most part. He's been dominating in his wins. So I think he's got a chance to keep it up because like we mentioned before, the top competition just isn't there. He can stand up with most of these other guys. Do I think he's going to win? No, but I think he could.
He's at least one of the guys that you would not be shocked by.
Yeah, and then out of the guys that are one loss back, I give most credit to Endo and think that he would have a chance out of all of those guys. I mean, he put on a fantastic match against Hakuho and kind of embarrassed Hakuho. He's had some really good performances, but it's like we always see with Endo. He just kind of slips up with some of the lower ranked guys, and so he's already picked up those 2 losses. But I do think he has the stuff to put it together and make a run to win this Basho. But will it happen? We'll see. But I think everybody else is a pretender on here.
Yeah. I enjoyed the match between Endo and Enho. I think it was either today.
That was an awesome
That was
match.
this morning.
Yeah, it reminded me of this PBS show called In Between the Lions, of where
I remember that show.
there was a thing where like they have a thing where like they have knights like of different syllables, like kind of like joust at each other. So it'd be like shh shh, and there'd be something else like ache. So shh ache, and then they come together to be shake to kind of learn some phonics. And I felt it was like the battle between for the end, battle of the ends, and those
Yeah.
and hose.
And so apparently the hoe is dominant.
Yeah, it was like ho.
I
that's-
was wondering where
You guys
would
would look at me weird, so I'm gonna kind of end this.
No,
Little story.
that's what we were all thinking too.
no.
It was kind of the battle of the ends between and I enjoyed it, and I want more.
TLDR, their names sound similar.
Oh, that was the point.
Having never seen Between
It was.
the Lions, is that what
Yeah.
it was? No, I have no idea what that show is. I'm
Lions
sorry.
like cats?
It's like a PBS show.
it's I kind of
lines
read between
like-
read between the lines, but it's like read between the lions.
Hey, reading Rainbow
It's
or
kind of
nothing.
It's kind of a play on words.
I'm going to
Oh, yeah?
save this podcast and start talking about the Yokozuna who have dropped out of competition.
Thank you.
So, as we discussed in depth on our preview, if the Yokozuna are healthy, they're going to be competing. Well, they're not healthy, and they're not competing. So,
Brilliant analysis by us.
Indeed.
yeah, we called that. So, Hakuho, he was the first one to pull out. He pulled out on day 4 after a 1-2 start. He had that loss to Endo on day 2, and then a loss to Miyogiryu on day 3. I think Miyogiryu's 2 wins are... I think he only has 2 wins, and they're both against Yokozuna. No, he did pick up a third win. He beat Mitake Yubi today. I forgot about that. But
Yeah, the other Yokozuna.
So, yeah, Hakuho lost those 2 matches 2 days in a row and then pulled out. The reason that he cited for pulling out is that he injured his back in his match against Endo. The actual reason he pulled out is because he injured his pride in that match against Endo, where he got just thrown and flat on his back.
That was a pretty awesome match.
That was a
fantastic
fantastic
match.
match.
Did you watch how like Enho was like doing that leg trip counter? Like
No,
that?
but I watched Endo do that.
Endo, yes.
Have you ever seen a show called Between the Lions?
And Enho was like the better of the ends. So I was
Yeah, so now that
Enho
Enho won that match, they're both Enho now to Fleric.
yeah,
There you go.
he won the name.
Does that mean that transitively Enho is better than his mentor Hakuho?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Noted.
I think so. But no, like when he was like Hakuho was going to do that one. I don't know exactly the throw, but kind of I don't want to say
Probably a
Watanabe.
Watanabe.
Yeah, some kind of belt throw of where he just. I've seen that done so many times, but Endo was able to get like his leg in to kind of just trip up,
Go for that trip.
like his
Like
bouncing
2 or
one.
3 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was actually. I felt like it was a perfect counter for what like Hakuho was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's really impressive.
And then he was able to get pretty much the same throw on Hakuho because he
Uh-huh.
threw him, and that's how he won the match, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah. It basically, like the long and short of it, he tabletopped him with his left leg behind Hakuho and just he went straight down onto his back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a cool note from a friend of the show, Wata, mentioning Hakuho being interviewed afterwards, and Hakuho was like, "Yeah, I should have used this one other obscure move nobody else has ever heard of." But it just kind of notes the fact that Hakuho, even though he lost, he knows exactly what he was supposed to do because he knows literally every technique.
Vast library of knowledge floating
Right.
around in his brain.
So,
that
like
could
the
pull
second
up
he
at
hit the
any
ground, he
time.
was probably like, "I should have done the super twisty over flippy backdrop kind of thing or something."
Naturally. But I just want to give so much props to Endo for actually knowing the counter to that. And like it just showed his experience with sumo, like he's knowing even more counters to different Kimarite.
And the god tier defense that he's got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he somehow just like does the splits in the air and just bounces between one leg and the other, and you just can't tip him over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that has been we may have mentioned it briefly in the past, but I think it's really shown through this Basho.
Oh, yeah. So there was a lot of speculation, especially after Hakuho lost against Miyogiryu, that he was going to pull out just because, like, yeah, Hakuho lost 2 in a row, so he's just going to pull out doesn't matter if he's injured or not. And so there's been a little bit of shade thrown Hakuho's way by some members of the media in Japan. So there was a Yokozuna Deliberation Council member that said that Hakuho should not have raised a white flag so quickly and should have shown the spectators how he handles crisis situations. So showing that the Yokozuna Deliberation Council does not believe that Hakuho was really injured. And then also, former Yokozuna Kita no Fuji, he was a Yokozuna in the 60s and 70s with 10 career Yusho, said in an article, quote, "I said on day 3 that Hakuho will bow out by day 5. I was right. Looks like he hurt his lower back, but I think rather than that, it's the mental shock. A 43 times Yusho winning Dai Yokozuna flying in the air and landing splat on his back. Even at my level as a Yokozuna, if that happened to me, I wouldn't have just gone Kyujo. I'd have wished that I'd quit sumo altogether." Wow. Happily, it ended with just Kyujo, but regaining his self-confidence is not going to be easy. First and foremost, it's clear that other Rikishi have lost their fear of him. It will be very interesting to see if a strong Hakuho can make a comeback.
I'd say no, since he's planning to retire this year.
That's a good point. Like, how much does Hakuho care?
Exactly.
I'm sure he does, like, as a competitor, like everything he enters, he wants to win, but maybe like, I lost a couple, my back hurts. I'm just going to take it easy this time.
I definitely think...
And he has nothing left to prove.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely think that was his thought process. Like, he probably is injured, like everyone is, but he probably just kind of decided, like, it's not worth kind of sticking around to be like, be in the Yusho race because I'm not going to be that. I'm just going to be kind of doing runner-up. Yeah. It's interesting that the Yokozuna Deliberation Council of old people said, like, this is like, oh, you should have just kept on going.
Yeah.
But he also would have got criticism if he stuck around and kept on losing. So
yeah, I think it's very interesting, the dichotomy between the response that Hakuho got for pulling out in this tournament. He could very legitimately have injured his back and might not be able to compete versus what we saw basho after basho for Kisei no Sato. Mm-hmm. It just shows you how differently they think about Hakuho as a Yokozuna versus Kisei no Sato as a Yokozuna and how much more they liked Kisei no Sato.
Yeah. It's just people having opinions. It doesn't mean much, in my opinion. They're just kind of yelling at the clouds.
That's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah. And honestly, it's whatever.
We also had Kakuryu pull out the day after Hakuho did on day 5 after a 1-3 start. So he lost on day 1 to Endo. So Endo picked up 2 Kinboshi this tournament. He lost on day 3 to my boy Hokuto Fuji, picking up his 7th career Kinboshi. And he also lost on day 4 to Myogiryu. Myogiryu also getting 2 Kinboshi in this tournament.
Kind of making Endo's achievement look a little bit less cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said that on Twitter. Got a little bit of backlash for that. People were like, no, Miyagiri is cool. And I'm like, no, he's not. Come on, man.
Don't lie.
Just quit that.
Yeah. So his cited reason for pulling out is arthritis in the left leg. And I'm pretty sure he was very sick prior to the basho as well. And it doesn't really sound like he ever recovered.
Yeah, I heard he lost like 10 pounds or something beforehand.
Nobody's throwing shade Kakuryu's way for pulling out after some early losses.
Hakuho's taking all the heat.
We can.
I'm okay.
No can, though.
Go for it. If it happens, this is Jake throwing shade on Kakuryu, not Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Yeah, what do you have against the Yokozuna Kakuryu?
As a founding member of this podcast with the rest of all my compatriots here, I'm a little bit disappointed.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Not really with him personally, but yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed with the fact that they both had to pull out, especially
They're
that early.
aging Yokozuna wrestlers. This is bound to happen.
Between the two of them, they've won the last 2 out of 3 tournaments, though, right? I mean, come on.
Details.
I actually will second that, and like I kind of gave shade to the Yokozuna Deliberation Council, but I honestly feel the same way. Like, if Yokozuna aren't doing well, I think it's silly that they should bow out. I think they should probably stick it out and try to still fight to get the 8 wins at the end of it. I hate being robbed of great Yokozuna matches up because all the really good ones are at the end of the basho. Mm-hmm. And so when they keep on dropping out in the beginning, like it just, I want more of these matchups, even if they're not 100%.
I was going to say, would they be good Yokozuna matches if they're hobbling into the final day after being injured early and then just taking beating after beating for 12 more days?
It obviously, I think, depends. Like, I guess they decide that they would just keep on losing every single time, but even the quality of their matches, like from the ones I saw, like where they just kind of lost, I still thought that was some high quality sumo, and I would love to see that quality sumo against people around their level. I think it would be a lot closer for matchup. They wouldn't have a huge edge like before, but I think that would just make more interesting.
I propose that we just have them face off on day one, and then they can quit from there.
I would like that too.
Yeah, guarantee get that match done out of the way. We don't have to worry about if it's going to happen or not. Yeah, I'm all about Yokozuna's day one now.
And then give up a couple kinboshi and then call it a tournament.
Yeah.
There you go.
A lot of rematches too.
We did have a couple other guys go. Kyujo, as we mentioned before, Kotoyuki pulled out of the tournament prior to the Basho, and then Meisei pulled out today on day 8 after a 1-6 start due to a partial tear in the biceps. I also want to point out our high maturity level for saying pull out so many times without giggling.
I'm just doing a good job of turning away from the microphone, I think.
Okay, good job all around. So let's talk about some of the Ozeki and Ozeki hopeful this Basho, starting with Goedo, who is Kadoban and needs to get to 8 wins to keep his Ozeki rank for like a 33rd or 34th consecutive Basho. But he has started 3-5. Do you guys think he has it in him to come back and get his Kachikoshi Fleric?
This is probably my favorite plot line in all of this Basho right now, is whether or not Goedo is going to stick around.
Will the cockroach survive?
Yeah. And even still, I gotta say he's going to pull it out. Like mostly because like the high end competition that he has, a lot of them have dropped out. Like most of the 2 Yokozuna are out, and Takayasu's not looking to form. He's not looking to form as the other Ozeki, but overall, I think he's going to be able to do it because I think even injured, he still is a good shot against all of his competition.
I guarantee that he's going to pull it out because that is what the universe has in store for Ryan. That is the universe that we live in and the one that we deserve. He's going to pull out his 8th win on the final day and continue for another 5 years as an Ozeki.
Yeah, from what we've seen of history of sumo, that's definitely going to happen.
Oh, for sure. It's basically a lock.
Given the current state of the upper field and the competition that he's going to have to face in the second week, there's a chance that it may not happen, but I'm still leaning 70% he's going to make it.
He is 3-5. It's not looking good.
He has to go 5-2 the rest of the way out.
Yeah.
So
but it's not impossible.
He's already lost to 2 Maegashira 2, a Maegashira 1, a Maegashira 4, and a Komosubi. His competition's only going to get stronger as the Basho goes on. I mean, he's still got he's got Takakeisho, he's got Asanoyama, he's got Daisho coming up, you people.
Yeah, but don't
the guy who took down Hakuho?
No, he already faced Daisho and beat him.
Yeah, he already beat Daisho, people. What are you talking about?
If he can beat Daisho, he can beat anyone.
Exactly.
No, it's not looking good, but it's... But I feel like all of us are kind of thinking that he definitely still has a chance.
It's going to happen.
We're thinking
we're conditioned that Goedo always comes back from Kadoban.
Exactly.
It hasn't happened 28 times for nothing.
Logically, yeah, I would say it's unlikely, but
it's
I
going.
know it's going to happen.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say it's not going to happen because he still has to face Takakeisho and Asanoyama. Both of those guys are 2 of the top guys in the game right now. And so I say those are losses for Goedo in his current state. And then I think based on how he's fought so far, he's going to drop at least 1 more in the next 7 days. So that's 3 losses, and that's enough for him to get Makekoshi.
I don't think it's as a lock against Asanoyama. I think Asanoyama is still kind of... He's not as consistent against top guys.
Yeah, he's been looking kind of shaky this tournament, too.
Yeah, but...
Have faith in Asanoyama, guys.
I agree that I think Takakeisho is probably going to...
He's also my champ. Come on, Asanoyama. You can do it.
So we also have Takayasu.
I was hoping we could skip this. This is the sad part.
No, I love this.
No, I don't want to talk about it. I'm with Mac.
Tell me more.
So this is Fleric and Ryan conversation exclusive here. So Takayasu is a Sekiwake, and he needs to get to 10 wins to regain his Ozeki rank. But he has also started 3-5, and at this point, he has to run the table to regain his Ozeki rank. Fleric, because the other 2 have left the room. Do you think that Takayasu will be able to win 7 straight, get to 10 wins, and regain his Ozeki rank?
Has he faced Daisho yet?
That's a good question, and I think he has. So it depends on his result against Daisho,
Yep.
he lost to Daisho.
He lost to Daisho, but he still.
But Daisho could beat anybody, so that means nothing.
Yeah, he still had that matchup done. So I think easy. He's going to get 10 wins out.
That makes
7.
sense. Yeah, if he doesn't have Daisho in front of him, that would be the one loss.
The one hardest match of his whole sumo thing. No, it's not looking good.
No, it's not.
He's definitely shaky. I think every match he goes in is probably at least a 50-50. And I think he's going to at least probably lose one of those matchups coming up.
Yeah, it's tough to win 7 straight coin flips.
I wonder if he actually pulls out of the Basho if he doesn't get his 10. That would be
Ooh.
kind of a big question for me.
That'd be interesting, yeah.
I got my tears out and I'm back. I think it is a very poetic comparison here that he is trying to wrestle with one arm, just like his stablemate Kisano Sato, and it's clearly affecting him. It's clearly affecting him. He's very, very obviously favoring one arm, and everyone is keying in on it. Like, it's super obvious that he's... Yeah, what's up?
I can't remember what match it was, but there was one match where afterwards he lost, and you could see him like shaking out his elbow and like definitely holding his elbow like it was still hurting him.
That was Daisho on day 5. And I know that off the top of my head because I am keeping track of injuries, and I'll elaborate on that in a little bit.
But yeah, I don't think any of us in here honestly think... Does anybody think Takayasu's going to get Kachikoshi at this point?
No.
He's only getting worse. Sucks.
It really is sad. So
You should just pull out right away. As me having him as my chump for fantasy,
And now the realization makes sense.
I forgot you had Takayasu as your chump.
I think he should just call quits and just go ahead and pack it up and go Cujo.
Yeah, he should also take a lead pipe to Okinoumi's knee. So Okinoumi has to pull out as well.
Yeah, but during practice, so it's okay.
Yeah, we'll get to more into our fantasy stuff later. So let's talk about Asanoyama because he is also an Ozeki hopeful. He has started off 5-3 in this Basho. Not as good as kind of probably we were hoping, but he still can get 12, 11, 10 wins. What do you guys think of Asanoyama's chances for double-digit win Basho this time?
I would say that it's slim at this point. I mean, looking at what he's going to have to face going higher, I think it's possible. Again, he's going to have to take down, I think, Goedo and Takayasu still. He's going to have to fight them. He's going to have to fight the other guys up on that top level. It's not impossible since both of them are not looking good, but that's going to go against our other predictions. So
Takakeisho, he hasn't faced him yet either.
right, that would be the only one I'm really worried about in terms of Asanoyama getting his double digits, but the others fairly confident, and that pains me to say.
Yeah, his losses so far have been totally forgivable in Endo and Shodai, but kind of a weird one losing to Abi. Abi, who's 4-4 right now. You'd think that if Asanoyama was in Yusho contention form, Abi's not a loss he would give up. They are 6-4 in their career in favor of Asanoyama, by the way, him versus Abi. So yeah, I guess it's not a lock by any means, but still.
Yeah, they're also kind of the same age and kind of same sumo generation, so they probably have a lot of history of where they kind of styles where they're kind of a little metagame between themselves. So it's not, they probably have tricks up their sleeves to beat Asanoyama. I think Abi had some tricks up his sleeves as well as getting across.
Sure, they faced each other enough times to have some idea what to do.
But other than that, his sumo has looked good. I mean, none of his matches really stood out as like, oh, that was poor form, or oh, what the heck was he thinking here? He's done pretty well.
Yeah, watching his matches, I feel like any time that Asanoyama gets a grip on somebody's Mawashi, I'm like, oh, okay, Asanoyama has this. I don't need to worry about this anymore. And so it's just, as long as you can keep Asanoyama off your belt, it seems like you've got a pretty decent shot of doing that. And that's what Abi did fantastically. He was able to use his long arms and Supari to keep Asanoyama away, which allowed him to win that. I don't remember the Endo and Shodai matches off the top of my head, but I still think Asanoyama can go 5-2 the rest of the way, get 10 wins, have 21 wins over the past couple of tournaments to keep that Ozeki run alive for Haru.
Yeah, I definitely think he's in Junyusho contention. Like, he definitely has that in him, mostly because I don't think there's consistency from anyone except Takakeisho. Of where I think Takakeisho, he can probably pull it out and like not drop any more matches or maybe 1 or 2 more. But everyone else can definitely drop a couple more, and he's definitely still in the race for that.
Yeah, he's got 7 guys ahead of him. Asanoyama does at this point with less losses than he does. But yeah, like you said, any of those guys drop one.
They all
match.
feel kind of fluky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Except for Takakeisho and maybe Shodai.
I mean, how is Shodai this good this Basho?
I don't know.
Nobody knows. This is the fluke of the Basho.
Well, I'd say Tokushoryu right now is more of a fluke.
No. Well, as we saw before, he was M16 and got a Junyu show. He's Jake said it. He's got him right where he wants him.
There's
Have
precedent.
you watched him squat?
Oh my
Down by the
God.
Tachiai? That guy
No.
can squat. He looks
got it.
He just so perfectly balanced. It's a sight to behold.
He is also kind of giving Chiyomaru a run for his money as far as like fattest head I've ever seen in my life.
That okay? I'd agree with that one.
I don't know. He's somebody that like I've honestly never really paid attention to, even on the few couple times that he's made it up to Makuuchi since we've been recording. But yeah, 7-1 definitely feels real fluky to me.
Yeah. So who else is a little disappointed by Mitaki Yumi so far
Me.
this show? We'll talk about fantasy / predictions later, Jake.
But that's important.
It just looks like he keeps giving up. I mean, he starts off strong in Itachi, and then they go and they grapple. Could be a few Tsupari here and there. They could try and exchange these grips, but it just looks like he quits halfway through the match.
Telling you, it's too cold outside.
Yeah.
It was too.
Oh God,
You and your damn correlation.
The losses he has, to be fair to him, are a lot of his usual second week matchups. He lost to Asanoyama, he lost to Takayasu, Takakeisho, and of course the greatest of all time, Miyoguru.
Miyoguru.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can
no, and one of his wins is even a Fusen win over Kakuryu.
He beat Daisho, so anything's possible.
Yeah. Anything is possible. And I actually do have high hopes of him probably having a good second week, because normally he does pretty well against people kind of lower than him. Usually when he's at Sekiwake, it's usually the ones who are kind of at the top that it's usually kind of a mixed bag. So I have high hopes going into the next week. It's just that his ploy of trying to put all of his hard matches in the first week so he can win did not work for him.
Totally. Well, okay. Only semi-related fun fact here, as we were looking up his record. Mitakiyumi is 21-2 against Tamawashi.
Holy cow!
Wow.
That is a really weird one. I mean, a lot of these guys that he's
Surprised
faced
he's
a
been
lot of
around
times,
long enough to face Tamawashi
23
times.
That's more than he's faced anybody else that he faced off with in this tournament. That's more times than he's matched up against Goedo, Takayasu, Takakeisho, anything like that. That's funny.
That's crazy. Wow.
And if you get nothing else from this podcast, remember that Mitakiyumi has Tamawashi's number
Big time.
big time, bigly.
Yeah, I think Mitaki Yumi, even though he only has one person in the Sanyaku ranks left to face in Abi, I still think this is 8-7 tournament for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still sitting outside of the Sanyaku ranks next Basho at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We've also got Enho,
Wee baby Enho,
who won the Battle of the Ends
Yep.
today and officially renamed Endo Enho, apparently. But he is 4-4 so far this tournament at his highest career rank. He hasn't really been looking like the Enho of the past couple of tournaments. We haven't been seeing as much craziness from him. I think he's been dominated a little bit more than we've seen in some of his matches. Like Okinoumi comes to mind.
Tochi Notion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! I forgot. That's the best thing I've ever seen.
That was everything I wanted that match to be.
It was exactly what we said it was going to be.
Yes.
That match made me so happy.
Yeah,
Flailing legs and
yeah,
all.
the little baby kick, wah.
I don't wanna.
For those who may have missed Tochinoshin versus Enho, the best match you'll ever seen in the history of sumo. Tochinoshin did what Tochinoshin does, which is get his arms all the way around a guy to the back of their mawashi and then full pick them up. But I'm pretty sure Tochinoshin did that in the middle of the dohyo and then just easily walked Enho over to the edge. And Enho can't do anything about this. So all he can do is just kind of shake, and he just
was
looks
flailing.
like a little baby just trying to get out of Tochinoshin's grip. It was the best thing. I love you, Enho, but my God, I love
That was the best comparison I could think of was trying to get my cat into the vet. Like the slippery little bastard, he's all over the place in the car and he's just going nuts. And then I finally get a grip and I'm just like holding him far away from my body as he's flailing around. And I mean, I'm going to get him there. It's just he's not liking it. And so he's, just kicking and all that. That was what I thought of when I saw that one.
Just the look on Enho's face of, that just happened.
Yeah. Impressive to Tochinoshin anyways, because I looked it up, and Enho's like, I guess 200 pounds or so, 100 kilos.
Yeah. Just about.
And like he just effectively like just deadlifted him up and just kind of walked him out. I was like, wow, your back be way strong and hamstring.
But yeah, Enho is off to a 4-4 start, and so probably keep it on pace for what he's been doing the past few tournaments.
He did win against Shohozan, which is someone who normally had his number.
That was a good one.
It
That's
looked
his
like
first
Shohozan
win, right?
Yeah.
I think it was first time out of like 5 or 6 that they faced each other.
Yeah, he's now 1-4 against Shohozan, I'm pretty sure. But it looked like Shohozan kind of slipped there.
Yeah, he kind of messed up.
Because Enho made him slip.
True. But
Obviously.
very exciting matchup tomorrow on day 9. Enho is getting his first shot at somebody in the Sanyaku ranks as he is going to go head-to-head with Goedo.
That's a weird matchup. That's weird. Why, like, Enho's not doing spectacularly, and Goedo's not, like, completely crapping the bed.
They have similar records, 4-4 and 3-5, and there must be enough people that have dropped out at this point.
I was gonna
that
say, is
Enho has
Now
made
the Joy?
it into the Joy, possibly.
Yeah, I guess so, because Goedo has faced both Maegashira 4s.
And with the Yokozuna dropping out, those are 2 late day matchups that need to be
That he's not
replaced
gonna
by
get,
lower
yeah.
ranked guys.
Huh.
So yeah, Enho would fall into the Joy now.
Still surprising, but yeah, that's that'll be fun. Maybe he'll get a... Don't they kind of informally call it a silver star if you beat an Ozeki?
Maybe.
Sure. I think I've heard that somewhere.
Super informal. So what are you guys'
Super informal. I have never heard it before.
what are you guys' thoughts on who's going to win Enho versus a injured Goedo?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good one.
I'm going to go back to my theory of Goedo and the universe that we deserve.
That's what I'm struggling with right now.
He's going to Henka Enho or something like that.
I
That'll
want
be it.
Enho to win. I want him to win, but Goedo just won't die.
I feel like style matchup, it's going to be really close, though. Because, like, doesn't Goedo usually try to do some, like, belt shenanigans to just kind of throw the other person?
Yeah, and Enho's squirreliness
Among other
could...
things.
Yeah.
there's a billion different ways I feel like it could go. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Because he kind of has to play a whole different style of sumo to go against Enho. So I'll be curious if Goedo can pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the man who embarrassed Enho, Tochinoshin, in his first basho after he's kind of been injured too much and got kicked out of the Sanyaku ranks, and still kind of looks like Tochinoshin is injured too much. He is 3-5. One of those wins was a Henka against Takara Fuji. He got that win against Enho, and then he beat Onosho in the early part of the basho where Onosho could not keep his balance for the life of him.
Oh, God, he could not catch a break.
He's stormed back now. He's won his last 4, so Onosho's 4-4 now. But we're not talking about Onosho. We're talking about Tochinoshin. Where are you guys' thoughts on him so far?
And it's exactly how you said. I think it's closer competition at this part of the Bansuke, which I enjoy, but he's still kind of obviously a little bit injured.
Yeah, I think he's still dealing with a lot of internal stuff, whether it's either his back or his lower body, or heck, even his ribs, since he just cracked those on the last tournament. He's got a lot going on right now, and I don't think he's true to form. He's just not quite there yet and still battling everything.
I think it's kind of the inevitable injury fall that we have kind of been mentioning here and there. I think it's probably basically time. The fact that he got Yori Kiri'd by Walmart brand Tochinoshin Ryuden, the other like pure grappler in that mid ranks there.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a sign.
He gave up the only loss or the only win to Meisei this
Right.
basho.
Yeah, that's a rough one too.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Let's move on to a couple of guys that need to pull out of this tournament. It was an ugly day on day 6, I believe, for Tsudu Gisho and Kiza Kiyumi. These are a couple of guys that took Topple out of the dojo. Kiza Kiyumi is a Juryo wrestler. He was actually visiting the top division that day. He lost his match, and he fell out of the dojo and landed right on his head. and then he wasn't moving for a long time. It didn't really look like anybody came out to see him. I didn't get to see like the full them taking him off. But it's kind of like a situation we were talking about for the Kyushu Basho with just how bad their injury response is for a guy
Classic
like
sumo medical care.
for a guy like Tomokaze who blew up his knee and they tried to get him to like walk over to the wheelchair or something like that. Kiza Kiyomi, a guy who's clearly probably concussed and could have possible neck damage the way that he landed.
Yeah.
The only thing that I saw was him with his arm over a Yobidashi, just kind of very, very struggling to walk to the back room. And it just annoys me how bad their ringside medical care is. And then Kiza Kiyomi was in the next day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned he was leaning on a Yobidashi. Why are the Yobidashi exclusively normal-sized people? Like, why don't they have one or two, like, Hulk Yobidashis that actually can do anything for these 500-pound guys that need help?
Haul
Or
them up
doctors.
to their feet.
Or doctors. That'd be cool.
Like really huge buff doctorates, yeah.
Or stretchers and neck braces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the big will go into sumo instead of Yobidashi.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, if you retire from sumo by, like, 35-ish, even if you're good,
I
you're
don't
still
think you can re-enter as a Yobidashi.
Yeah, but, like,
if you
maybe
want
be
to.
sitting...
Maybe not.
Maybe reserve a front row seat or two, or, for like
Like
a couple retired guys that are still strong.
Oyakata aren't going to do that.
Maybe the ringside rickshaw could just like.
But not
Be a
everybody
friend
becomes an
and help 'em out.
Oyakata after sumo, though.
Also true.
I guess so. That's a way to stay in
I
sumo.
feel like there's enough giant guys in the neighborhood here, though. I guess is what I'm saying. We are giant guy adjacent at all times in a sumo tournament.
That's a very good point.
There should be some bigger people able to help, and most
What about
importantly,
lower wrestler Rikshi?
there you go, or at least more attentive people willing to help there. It's so silly to me.
The other guy at Tsurugisho, he got injured in his match. It looked like he had a pretty bad knee injury as they took him off in the giant wheelchair. Yeah. I was fully expecting a Kyujo from both these guys, but mostly Tsurugisho.
Oh, yeah.
But he's been back the past couple of days, and he absolutely needs to go Kyujo.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He can't move.
He looked maybe okay the first match after that.
That's
like,
because he was just able to put his hands out and slap the guy
Yeah,
down
yeah.
immediately. He
Yeah.
didn't have to move.
But then the next day, the most recent day, day 8 here, he looked just like garbage. Absolutely terrible.
like, I understand like their need and pressure to stay in the tournament because like every win is more money for them, and if they're gone, they're not making money. But it's just
Especially these people who normally aren't in the Makuuchi division.
right.
Rank is very important.
It's just sad to see somebody fight on what is still a very clearly injured leg, and he needs to rest it, get the proper medical treatment for it. It's just frustrating for me a little bit to see that going on.
I agree.
Is there anybody else that people want to mention real quick before we move on?
Kiri Bayama.
Yes.
Yeah.
The newcomer to the Makuuchi division this time.
Yeah, this was the new guy. Jake actually gave us a nice kind of intro to. He gave,
oh, yeah, when we looked up his moves.
when you looked up his moves and kind of said like it's pretty normal, a lot of force outs, but the one like oddity was like he had like a lot more like rear force outs. And,
Oh, yeah.
and he got also a lot more rear force outs on him.
Yeah, wins and losses. He had way more Ukuri Dashis and Ukuri Nagis than you would expect.
Exactly. So
And now we know why.
we know why. He has played Madden and he knows where that spin button is. And he loves to spin.
He's giving them the okie doke.
Yeah, the okie doke. It's interesting, it's entertaining, but I just hate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of an Ultimate Frisbee. This is going to be a reference to only the people who know that. But like if you're
That's a lot more people than know Between the Lions, so it's an improvement.
I think you're wrong there. That is a very good show. But I digress. Like if you're being forced forehand and you want to do like a backhand break to the break side, a lot of times normally you just want to pivot around there in the front and just kind of do it nice and quick. But there's some people who just like to spin all the way backwards around and then do that throw because they think they look cool. They think they're really, really fast, but they're not. They're actually just being slow. And it's just inefficient movement.
Does it work?
Sometimes. Usually no.
Just enough to like convince them to do it again.
Yeah, just enough to do it again. It's just inefficient movement. It's not as quick. You should not be doing that. And the same thing with sumo. Like it's you can kind of break some things maybe by turning unexpectedly, but you're still leaving yourself way open.
You're showing your back to your opponent.
There's probably a reason why we don't see guys twirl around as much as Kiribayama does.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah,
it's on the Tawara.
in my notes, I have it that he has spun in a full half of his matches. He's shown his back to his opponent on day 1, 2, 5, and 6.
But that aside, he's not doing bad for his first time in Makuuchi. He's 4-4.
Yeah, just enough that he's going to keep doing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, I kind of like it because it's unique. Just, there's so many times in sumo where something is just different, and that's part of its appeal, when a lot of the stuff is fairly uniform, even if it's like he's 4-4. If he was like 1-7, spinning 4 times, it'd be like, dude, just cut it out. Come on. But it's kind of working. And that's kind of fun.
Half the time.
I find it more fun than annoying, I guess. At
Yeah, it
this
doesn't
point.
bother me.
At this point.
I guess I'll agree it's a little entertaining. It's definitely, I'm kind of looking forward to his matches to see whether he does it again.
Yeah.
But I just can't get past like people doing this in Frisbee. It's just, it's so dumb. Stop it.
Anybody else that has caught your guys' eye?
We didn't talk too much about Mitakeumi, but I'd like to voice my disappointment at least one more time here.
Go for it.
Oh, that was it.
Okay. What about you, Mac? Anybody caught your eye?
No, not really, other than my boy Chiyomaru just hanging on at 4-4 right now.
Doing enough to probably not get demoted to Juryo next
I
time.
hope not.
We've mentioned him, but let's talk a little bit more about the unbeatable icon of sumo wrestling, the benchmark that all other sumo wrestlers compare themselves to. I'm talking about, of course, Daisho, who is 3-5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Podcast favorite, Daisho.
Yeah,
Always has been.
always will be.
Did we mention him in November for the first time ever?
I think so.
I think we did.
That sounds right to me.
I mean, he's beaten Miyogiryu. Miyogiryu's beaten 2 Yokozuna this tournament.
He's beaten Miyogiryu 6 times to 1.
Yeah, exactly. He's beaten Takayasu. That man's a former Ozeki, and he beat Tamawashi, who's won a Yusho. How are you going to get past this Daisho guy?
Throw him against Asanoyama?
At least 5 guys have figured it out.
Yes.
That's flukes. Daisho has got his formula going. He's got it worked out. We're ending this thing 10-5. Guaranteed. Podcast favorite, Daisho, 10-5. Somehow the Yusho.
He lost to
No.
Mitakeumi.
Who's won 2 Yushos? Let's talk about Juryo.
Let's.
Yay.
Taro no Fuji, you guys, we should probably be afraid of him.
Why?
Because he is back in Juryo with a vengeance. He is 8-0. He's 2 wins clear of second place, so he's probably got a lock on the Juryo Yusho, and it's not even close. He's pretty. I never really saw him when he was in his prime, but this is what I would imagine as an Ozeki caliber guy would do if he's down in Juryo. So I'm very excited to see Taro no Fuji for the rest of this Basho. And then he's all the way down at Juryo 13. So even if he goes 15-0, I'm going to guess they're going to jump him up to Makuuchi.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see Taro no Fuji the rest of this year, to see how high he can climb. Because it really seems like he's doing good. Albeit he's down in Juryo right now, but he seems to have put it back together.
Yeah, you'd expect him to take a few losses on the way back up. And he's taken a couple here and there, but like...
He's not going to go like 30-0 in like the next 2 Basho while he's like down at the bottom of Maegashira and not facing anybody important. He's going to pick up some losses, but it's still super impressive what he's been able to do coming back.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me. I definitely feel the same way of where I didn't really kind of watch him too closely when he was kind of in his prime, because that's kind of before the.
That was right when we were getting into it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but he always kind of struck me as like he's just big and he's strong. That's kind of his 2 big things, and people just can't
Those are
get past
very
them.
I was about
important
to say,
things in
that,
sumo.
what else do you need?
And that can get you far. But like I'll be curious to kind of see how he gets as upper in the ranks, and whether or not like how his technique kind of goes with that, and whether that can actually get him back up to Ozeki.
I went back to check it. He has only lost 3 times since his return.
In so far 6.5 Basho.
Yeah,
Well,
that is absurd.
3.5 Basho because his Basho in the lower divisions are
Yeah,
half
whatever.
Basho. And how old is he? He is 28 years old. So, I mean, he still has a little bit of time to get back up there into the higher ranks, and maybe Ozeki. I'm not going to say he's going to be Ozeki ever again because it's so hard to get to that point from scratch.
But if any time was going to happen, when a lot of the overturning of a lot of the older people up in those ranks, it definitely can happen.
I think that if it ever in the entire history of sumo is going to happen for an Ozeki to go all the way back down to Jonidan and then back to Ozeki, this is about as good an opportunity as we're going to get.
Yes, definitely.
Seeing as so far it's the only opportunity in history.
Yeah.
Well, I think those other guys are just quitters.
Oh, that's fair.
Like Hakuho.
So, let's talk about some of our favorite guys in the lower division. So first, Hoshoryu. He is off to a 5-3 start in Juryo. Had a shaky first couple of days, but he's really turned it around. So hopefully keep that going, get his first career Kachikoshi as a Sekitori. And the guys that are in the unpaid ranks, we have at Makushita 5, Naya is 2-2. Makushita 14, Moto Bayashi, 3-1. He suffered his first career loss on day 7. So if he had gotten like a 7-0 record, which would have never been done, 4 straight 7-0s to start his career, he would have been up in Juryo next time. With that one loss, he's not going to be in Juryo the next Basho, so we have to wait at least one more for Moto Bayashi to get to the paid ranks. But even then, that would be a meteoric.
That's still
It's already
okay,
been
I
a
guess.
meteoric rise.
Yeah,
okay.
24-1 is pretty dang good.
not
And
bad.
really, his first Basho, he had 2 playoff matches that he won, and I know he's won at least one other playoff match. So he has 3 extra matches that don't show up on that career record. But, I mean, so do a bunch of other people.
We should send a letter.
Yeah.
Get those added to
Yeah.
his career record. I agree.
We should
Faux
start.
show.
We should start a fan club. Start now.
Let's do it. At Makushita 17, Roga, he is 2-2. Makushita 35, Ryuko, he is 4-0. Sandanme 64, Waka Ichiro is bouncing back from his last tournament. He has
Heck yeah.
started 3-1.
Yeah.
And Jonidan 28, we have Ura, who is 4-0. And we're going to go to break. And when we come back, we're going to hear a little bit more about Ura. Are you worried about the future? Do you need advice on everything from your investment accounts to your belt technique? The answers are out there. Call Nostradamus fortune-telling service today at 805-613-SUMO. That's 805-613-7866.
I see dark things in your future. You will get hankered and look very silly.
Nostradamus is the premier sumo wrestling fortune-teller in all of the upper Midwest. His experience is second to none in the realms of the magical and the mawashi.
Rub my crystal belly, weary traveler. Rub it, and let the gurgles guide you.
Just listen to the satisfied believers who called Nostradamus for his counsel.
When I had a horrendous injury in a sumo match, the doctor said I was lucky to keep my leg, even though I really wanted to stay in the tournament. Since I trust phone psychics more than professional physicians, I called Nostradamus. His crystal belly advised that I go Cujo, and that's why I'm still wrestling to this day. Screw you, doctors.
I called Nostradamus when I was having a really hard time not punching my Tsukebito. I'll never forget the sage wisdom I was given. Nostradamus said, "Don't do that." And it changed my life.
At the low price of 2 bowls of Chanko per minute, let Nostradamus tell you what he sees in the mystical patterns of the thrown salt. Call 805-613-SUMO today.
I am listening, my child. Nostradamus can show you the way.
Welcome back, and as we teased before the break, we've got a little bit more information on Ura for everybody.
Yes, I have written an entire biography that is going to be released on Amazon in the next few days. No, I'm just kidding. There's no way I could focus on anything nearly long enough, such as a book. But the GSB belt that we have been following for the last couple tournaments here, at the very end of last tournament, Ura, down there in Jonidan, was able to pick up the GSB belt. He has since defended it 4 times. He does have another match here right away on day 9. If Ura goes 7-0, he would rocket the GSB belt up another division or so.
Up
That
to
would be-
Sandanme.
Yeah, that'd be
Nice.
pretty sweet. But if anybody beats him,
Sandanme in just 2 Basho, that's pretty good.
pretty good, pretty cool.
We got some top quality Rikshi down there.
Just I think
Waka
it's
Ichiro.
Yeah, it's kind
What
of.
if Waka Ichiro got the belt?
It's virtually guaranteed he's going to have it at some point.
That's right.
No, that's just a fun way to track how quickly people or titles or whatever could move up the ranks, and it's moving just as quickly as we could have hoped for. I think that's kind of cool.
Let's move on to our prediction series update. As we mentioned on our preview episodes, gotten quite a makeover from how we used to do it. Basically, we select a person we think is going to do good, our champ, and somebody we think is going to do bad, our chump. And then the scoring really isn't too important to the listeners, more for us. But basically, if your champ does good, you get more points. If your chump does bad, you get more points. So, our current standings, we have in last place, Jake with a champ of Mitake Yumi, and a chump of Shodai has 5 points.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I wanted to be Kotoyuki, but these guys made me change it.
Fleric, somehow with his champ only having 1 win, is in 3rd place ahead of Jake because he has Takayasu as his chump.
This is the most stressful Basho ever.
Fleric has 6 points, and then Mac and I are sitting pretty right now.
Yeah.
We are both tied for 1st place with 10 points. I had my champ of Takakeisho and my chump of Okinoumi, who's kind of dropping it for the team right now. He's really got to start losing some more matches. And then Mac picked Asanoyama for his champ, and really just a rookie mistake picking Daisho to be your chump.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Dumb
about
move
that.
there.
Not the great Daisho.
Oh, well, indeed, the Great Daisho.
So, yeah, right now, Mac and I looking pretty good. We're not going to have to sing a song. Jake and Fleric, it's a battle between those two to have to sing. And seeing as Fleric used to be in a band, I really want Jake have to sing this song.
I think I gotta say I think I am the most likely to take the title here because Shodai's looking on track for at least a prize.
Well, yeah,
Right.
but Fleric
He definitely
can't
is,
get
which-
any more points from his champ.
Yes, but Takayasu as his chump.
There was
That
a
does
high
help.
chance of him losing, if not just kind of pulling out. I would agree with you there.
Yeah, I think.
But
oh,
he's
man.
also Takayasu, and he's still
still super good, but he's super good when he has 2 working arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah,
It's gonna be
what's
close.
at stake is the winner will pick a popular song for the loser to write sumo themed lyrics about.
And sing.
And,
Not just
and,
write the
and then
lyrics.
sing, yes. But I'm really, really pulling for Mac because I think
Yeah.
Mac is going to be much kinder.
Yes, Mac would be much kinder.
No. This is exactly where Mac would just pull out something that's just evil.
Like, oops, I did it again.
Yes,
That was
I guess
fun.
so.
That was
Was that
fun.
Mac who pulled that one?
That
out?
was Mac who chose
Yeah.
oops, I did it again for me, yeah.
I guess that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. You were there. It seems like you've blocked it from your memory. Good job.
I definitely have, and
We
I'm
have
just not
also,
looking forward to this at all.
We also did this for one of our very first tournaments where Mac had
Poker
to
Face.
Yeah, Mac had to rewrite the lyrics to Poker Face.
Yep.
Mata, mata.
That was a really good one.
I had fun with that.
So pretty much how our scoring works, wins points, and then if you win like a special prize or a June Yusho or a Yusho, you get points. I want to propose a couple of additional ways to earn points or lose points. Obviously, I think we should add Kinboshi to the way to earn points list.
Yeah, okay. Maybe
Okay.
make it worth
Yep,
2 points
yep,
or something.
yep.
Yeah, and if you choose your champ to be Yokozuna and they give up a Kinboshi, maybe you lose a couple of points. We can talk about that, but I think
like that.
I think Kinboshi need to be brought into the
I
fray.
like that.
Agreed.
like
I mean,
that.
we have
we
special
talk.
prizes in there. We should probably get Kinboshi in there.
Yeah, we can figure it out.
We'll refine it before next tournament.
And then another thing that I thought would be interesting when my champ went up against my chump, I think if your chump beats your champ, you should lose points.
Ooh.
I kind of like that a lot too.
Yeah, add a couple little bonus categories in there. at the
Some
end
kind,
for-
some kind of little fun there, and maybe like if your champ beats your chump, like you get an extra point, maybe. Or
I would be okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We should institute that right now, in fact.
Shut up. No, everyone shut up.
No.
Stop it.
Okay, we'll mull that around. We'll probably have a couple of new rules to talk about on our next preview episode. Like we said, you guys probably really don't care about the rules too much. So, Jake,
Oh, God.
What
my
was that?
My chump is totally going to beat my champ. Shodai is totally going to beat Mitake Yumi. That is so happening.
oh, and so Fleric and Jake, as is a tradition that we established a couple bashos ago, not looking too good for you guys. Are you guys feel strongly enough about anything? You want to put some points on the line? Maybe make a bet against each other to try to bury the other person.
What's your thoughts on Goedo?
I would trade you Shodai for Takayasu.
Ooh, that's another thing I never thought of. Maybe we could trade chumps and champs. That would be difficult.
That would be tough.
Shodai is hot garbage.
All right, so Goedo,
So
though. What were you going to propose?
I was
if
going to say,
Jake trades Shodai
whether or
for
not,
Hakuho?
like whether or not, like where we at?
You just got it.
No,
Please?
well, with Goedo, like, would you actually put like some points on it, whether or not he gets Kachikoshi?
No.
You would
No,
not at
I'm
all?
not putting anything of any stakes on
No.
Goedo
Like
ever
whether-
in my life.
So, or whether or not that he's going to get it or not going to get it, or just you don't know.
Anything to do with Goedo.
All right, I think that's the only.
I can't trust or predict anything out of that man.
That's the only thing I think I would feel strongly enough about going that way.
Yeah.
So
No, let's just steady it out here. And
Hold on. Let's evaluate this Hakuho for Shodai trade.
no,
Well, so
Hakuho is not. He's going to lose.
No, wait.
but you can't get any more points from your champ slot. And
Okay.
so if you pick
So it
up
would just be down
Shodai,
to Takayasu.
so you trade
Well, hold on.
Jake Hakuho, that goes over to his chump slot. So yes, Jake is guaranteed points every day for Hakuho, but you can't get any points out of your champ slot right now. And Shodai's looking really good. He is in line for special prizes. He's in line for June Yusho or Yusho. That's bonus prizes Jake can't
already
get
said no.
from an injured Hakuho.
He already said no.
I
No, no, no.
think the Shodai Hakuho trade
No,
makes
no.
a lot of sense.
No, get out of here.
I think any kind of negative of doing well is also going to give negative on his side. I haven't crunched the numbers too well, but no,
Clearly.
I don't want to do this.
Let's move on. No. We're not. We're just gonna.
I like the idea of trying some stuff out. But
We're gonna lose on our own merits here. I think.
Shodai is just hot. I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all.
Hey, Mac, do you want to make a bet that we're both going to have an amazing time in first and second place this Basho?
Yeah, okay, I'd make a bet
All
of
right,
that.
let's bet 5 points, and if we're both right, we both get 5 points. Let's do it.
I bet 0.
No.
Moving on.
All right, fine. Let's move on to Jake's little side project he's been working on.
I mentioned this in the preview episode, but that episode was already epically long, so we're going to mention it here. We have been keeping track of in-ring injuries and trying to figure out what types of matches result in those injuries. In particular, I have been sorting. If I'm watching the Basho, anyways, I have added into my notes for each match what ended up happening. Did the entire match stay within the ring? Did the entire match stay upright? But they didn't necessarily stay on the dohyo platform. Like different categories of where did the rikishi end up at the end of the match? Because what we're trying to do is see how big of an impact the raised dohyo is having on the rates of injury. In particular, this came up because last Basho we had 2 separate instances where a wrestler went off of the platform and was immediately caused an injury because of that. So because of that, I think it was worth diving into. See if we can figure out a little bit more pattern behind what types of matches cause injury. We don't have a ton of data yet. There are only a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times that somebody has gone Kyujo or has needed help getting up off the ground, that kind of severity of injury in the Basho and a half that we have measured so far. So this is probably something that we're going to run for maybe a year, and see what kind of injuries happen before we can start drawing very heavy conclusions. Yeah. But it is we are still developing a profile of how often different types of matches happen. For example, the most common 2 types of matches are what I call a B-class match, where both wrestlers stay upright, but one of them or both of them leave the ring staying on top of the platform. There's also the D-class match, where everyone stays upright, but at least one guy falls off the platform and stays upright.
Kind of does a little hop down to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the 2 matches. Between those 2, they make up about 60%. And the other 40% are people going to the ground within the ring or going to the ground all the way off of the dohyo, things like that. Those are less common. But the hypothesis here is that people leaving the platform is causing injuries. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what we're looking to prove or disprove. Mm-hmm. Just because the size and height of the dohyo has been a point of discussion in these last couple injury-ridden bashos.
Yeah.
So
Step one is collecting data. So.
exactly. So we've got about 400 matches or so, and out of those, 7 serious injuries. We're also keeping track of minor injuries, but not necessarily adding them into our total, such as Hakuho's KO Hadoken punch right to Enho's face. I made a note of it, but didn't really count it because Endo was fine the next day. He just probably had a little nose plug of toilet paper for a few hours. But
Just like those 2 people who obviously injured his knee and landed on his neck. How they came in the next day.
I'm counting those
Yeah.
for sure.
I
If
should
the
hope
wheelchair
so.
comes into play, or if you don't get up under your own power, that for sure is a serious injury.
Yep.
So I'm counting those for sure.
Okay.
But it's something that we're going to keep an eye on, and I might toss out some updates here and there as we go. But for now, we're just in data collection mode.
All right, we will keep track of that as the year progresses and let everybody know when we come up with some conclusions for that. Let's move on to the lightning round, and let's try to keep it fairly lightning. So, one word answer. This should be fairly easy. Who has impressed you the most so far, Jake?
Endo.
Takakeisho.
Kiribayama.
Shodai. And Mac.
Oh, yeah. This was too lightning. Let's slow down.
No.
Mac, who has disappointed you the most so far?
Takayasu.
Hakuho.
Mitaki Yumi.
Tochi Noshin.
I think it's great that our fantasy probably definitely, I guess not so much.
No, that's
for
a
you.
good point. Okinomu is disappointing me the most so far. Why do you have a winning record?
Yeah, that's definitely kind of influencing our disappointment a lot.
There's a lot of emotional decisions in this
Yes.
lightning round.
Yeah, those dang sumo games still get you.
All right, this one should be fairly easy, although Jake might throw a little wrench in the machine. But what has been your favorite match of the Basho so far, Flerick?
I keep thinking of the Hakuho versus Endo one. The fact that Endo just had a great counter just really impressed me.
Abi v Goedo.
Okay, I got to say, obviously, Endo versus Hakuho as well.
I'm going with the majority, but I don't think it's by a super huge margin. I have a couple other favorite
do.
matches, but Endo over Hakuho, yeah.
All right. What is your most exciting potential matchup, Jake?
Mitaki Yumi Shodai because of the emotional investment.
Go ahead, Mac. I need to think about this.
Mine actually is going to be tomorrow. Abi v Endo. It's a hot streak versus a 4-1 history where Abi's got the advantage. So we'll see if Endo's hot streak can keep going or if Abi still has his number.
I just thought of it. It's going to be probably Goedo versus Takakeisho. The plot line of Goedo is definitely my favorite. I think that'll be his toughest matchup.
Yeah, there's definitely Takakeisho matches out there that I'm excited to see, but I'm going to go with Goedo versus Enho. Enho's first foray into the Sanyaku division, see what he can do with a clearly less than 100% Goedo.
Does this mean that Takakeisho and Enho are going to face also?
They could. It's potential.
Enho's going to go flying.
It'll be like the pushing version of the Tochinoshin grapple.
Yep.
Enho's arms are too small to reach
I
Takakeisho's
don't know.
belt
They probably
beyond
have the
belly.
same reach.
But he has to get around Takakeisho's belly. I don't know.
Yeah. Either way.
So I was looking at the ages of some Rikishi that pop up on Nado Sumo, and I was really surprised by some of them. So I'm just curious, like, your guys' initial thoughts on how old some of these guys are.
Old.
So how old do you guys think Shohozan is?
31.
25.
28.
35.
Oh.
How old do you guys think Shima?
25, Flair.
He's a handsome fella.
How old do you guys think Shimanoumi is?
29.
23.
35.
He's 30. How about somebody like Daisho?
Oh, God, he could be anything. I'm going to say 30 again.
22.
24.
26.
God, he could be 50. I don't know.
Let's do a couple more. How about Endo?
Endo, 28.
27.
30.
29. Nobody's gotten it right yet. We're going to go until somebody nails it. How about Abi?
11. No, 26.
22.
25.
Matt gets it. 25.
Finally.
A couple more that I just... How about Kiribayama?
Oh, God, no.
26.
32.
22.
What are you doing, Flair? I don't know how old these people
He's a baby.
He's 23. And one more. Okinoumi.
Ooh. 34.
35.
31.
34 was correct. And I'm the greatest. Probably the
Hey, I got it
closest
before
Flaric
you.
got the entire time. There you go. I think Flaric was off by 10 more times than he was off by single digits.
I just go by what
Jeez.
their age is in their heart and the way they carry.
Oh, in their
themselves.
heart.
Oh, okay.
There are some people who are old souls, and some people
Flaric,
are
do you
just
know
young
who
bucks.
Shima Naomi is?
He's on the Bansuke.
Yes,
He came
is
from
on the
He came from
Bansuke.
Jurio, and like
But he carries himself like whatever number you said that was way off.
whatever number I said, that was way off. a young buck, I would say.
Oh.
He is a young and or middle-aged or old buck.
Yep.
I'm going to start our final question off. Who's going to win it? Takakeisho.
Shodai. I've just resigned to it now.
Oh, no. The light just went out of Jake's eyes.
My heart says that, but it's definitely Takakeisho.
Takakeisho.
That's going to wrap up our Midway episode. So if you enjoy this podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You should follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Everything's also up on our blog, grandsumobreakdown.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Quick note on that number that Mac just gave. That is strictly a line for voicemails. Apparently, somebody has given our number to a car dealership in Texas, as we have received multiple text messages from them and a missed call. So if Alexis at Grubbs Infinity dealership just so happens to be listening to this, we do not have a Ford Ranger that we are interested in selling, and you have the wrong number.
Wait.
They've reached out like 5-6 times or so through different methods.
Oh,
and
yeah. They
like
texted
zero
us.
response, obviously.
Yeah.
We got a carrier pigeon just the other day.
So, yeah, if you see a sumo-sized pigeon flying around, just tie your parchment to it, and it knows where to go.
Pigeons are magical.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time.
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.